Alright, what's up guys? It's me Dom here again and I am back on Zen the Geek to talk about more keyboard stuff. And today we have here the new Tecware Pearl switches. Right, before I start, some thanks are in order. Big thanks to Suncycle Malaysia for bringing these in and sending it to us. I'm very grateful that I get to try this out. Right, so these are sold in packs of 35 for around 89 ringgit. So for 60 to 65% keyboards, you will need 2 packs of these, and if anything larger, you will need 3 or more packs. And not sure if I mentioned it, but yeah, they are priced at 89 ringgit for one. So they come nicely packed like these in a foam tray, and they are factory lube, but I do recommend hand lubing them if you can, because the spring and leaf noise is definitely still there, so you need to clean it up yourself. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It's just some more advanced stuff in a rabbit hole. So there are 2 of these that are linear and 2 of these that are tactile. Linear, tactile. So the reason why they're called Pearl is because these series uses unwiped plastic, which is like one of the smoothest and lowest friction coefficient plastics out there. Like this is the Tangerine, and it's like the smoothest, the king of smoothness for linears out there right now. And mostly because the whole housing is made from unwiped plastics. So the same material is found in some of the stems of these switches as well as the milky pearl top. So before you ask, yes, these are all very smooth. It comes with factory lube, but don't expect Tangerine levels, but definitely do expect like JWK nylon blacks or alpaca level of smoothness for sure. And for those of you who care about stem wobble, this has like a similar issue to the Texi diamonds, where they have like an unwiped pearl top just like this, and for some reason, Texi makes these switches for sure. Like this is a dead giveaway, honestly. So for some reason, their unwiped blend is a bit softer, unlike the JWK Tangerine stuff, which would result in more noticeable stem wobble. So if this will bother you, you probably shouldn't try these. But for most people like me who absolutely cannot care, like I've built over 50 keyboards, and honestly, I'm not that prone to noticing switch or stem wobble. So these will be fine. They were in my use case. So let me skip all the nerd talk and get to the sound test, starting with the Pearl Clear. Alrighty, so that was the Pearl Clear in my Den 60 with 21 KB keycaps. So I started with this because it is the least similar to the rest of the series. This one is a full PC housing with a nylon stem. It's linear with long pull and a 60-gram spring. So the only reason I would pick this up is because you want to try feeling a long pull linear, which bottoms out early compared to the other stuff. Meaning like you don't press it all the way down, like it ends slightly earlier than most of the more common switches like the Gatorons, the Cherries, the Kales. So it ends a bit early, and if you're a big fan of RGB, this clear plastic housing, it's absolutely amazing for RGB. Like you put it there, it will shine right through, no issues, which is gonna be quite an issue for the other switches where they have like a milky top and a opaque solid color bottom, which will block the light out. But these are completely see-through. They are very smooth and great for RGB. So if that's your goal, I would highly recommend the Pearl Clears. And moving on, let's talk about the Pearl Teal linear. Okay, so that was the Tecware Purple Teal. This is I would call this the signature pearl material. Unwiped top, unwiped stem, and nylon bottom. So these sound a little lower pitched than other nylon blends like the ones we're familiar with, such as JWK, Alpaca, the J-Wig Blacks, and the Cherry and SP Star that we know. So it has a 63 gram spring, and it's quite a smooth linear. Like that's all there is to it. So for people who are not comfortable with buying all sorts of like weird brands like SV Star or JWK, and you want to stick to something more familiar and mainstream like Tecware, this is a great way to experience what people in the hobby keep like. They won't shut up about smoothness. This will provide you the smoothness that we are talking about. So if you want to try that, this is great. This is for you, especially if you love linears. Alright, now let me move on to the Tecware Purple, where it'll be more interesting, the first tactile. Okay, so this is the Tecware Pearl Tactile. It features like the signature pearl materials, unwiped top, unwiped bottom, and the spring is 68 grams, so it's like quite heavy, but for someone like me, I got used to it already. I'm okay with 67. For some people it may be heavy because the more mainstream stuff is like 60, and this is about 68. Tactility wise, I would put this somewhere around a medium tactile. It's a bit of a round bump and definitely stronger than MX Browns. So if you want to try something more tactile in the hobby but not too like tiring or fatiguing, this is a good option. It's got the same unwiped, it's got the same nylon taxi material sound to it. It's lower pitch than usual. Spring feels great. Tactility, yeah, it's just round, less tactile than the T1, rounder than the T1. It's quite a different feel, I would say. So for somebody who's like really long in the hobby and want to try something different, this is, yeah, you can start with this. And the next switch is probably my favorite and the most interesting one, or exciting one if you will. Alright, and lastly we have the pearl salmon. When I wrote the article early on, I already identified this as the interesting one. So if you're quite familiar with this hobby, this will be interesting to you. And before I say anything else, I would happily compare these to the famous Boba U4Ts in terms of tactility. The tactility is kind of similar. They're like really round, really strong, really loud bumps, and it's long pull, slight long pull lah. So it's really loud. If you're looking for a very strong tactile, this is the one you're looking at. It's got a 68 gram spring, unwiped top, nylon bottom, but just this one, the stem is POM material. So it's more conventional, but we don't really see unwiped tops around everywhere. So if you want to try a unwiped like topping out sound, this is a great way to try. The Tecware Pulse Salmons is really strong, really smooth. It basically feels like a U4T boba, but just with a different sound. Yeah, so due to the very heavy 68 gram and like the very strong tactility plus long pull, this is probably the most exciting and the one that I would probably daily use. Alright, and that's all from me about these Tecware Pearl switches. Buy this if you like RGB, this one for like if you want to try a smoother switch, this one if you want to try something stronger than an MX Brown, and this one if you're really into like long pole and heavy tactile stuff. So yeah, I think this is a really good addition to the market, especially coming from a mainstream brand like Tecware, even though everybody kind of knows these are made by Texi. So because these are sold by Tecware, they are like kind of a mainstream budget oriented gaming peripheral brand in Southeast Asia. This kind of stuff will probably bring in a lot more people into the custom keyboard hobby. And yeah, I would say it's a great intro to different types of feels, long pulls, smoothness, different kind of tactility, and like heavier options, because the mainstream ones are like very light, they're like 50 to 60 grams. And these are all like 63, 65, 68, very, very enthusiast spring weights. So yeah, these are great additions to the market. Variety is always good, and I'm happy to see that there are more options for us to try and play around with. That's all from me, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.